Good evening, and welcome to the Tin Rabbit Podcast, where we dive down the rabbit hole and uncover the truth behind the most sinister plots and conspiracies. Tonight, we're shining a light on the dark side of innovation. You see, when we think of nanotechnology, we think of tiny machines that can cure diseases and make our lives easier. But what if I told you that the same technology being developed to heal us is also being used to control us? DARPA, the secretive research arm of the US military, has been pouring billions of dollars into nanotechnology research. But their goals aren't entirely pure. They're creating tiny robots that can manipulate our minds, control our bodies, and even assassinate us from the inside out. And they're not just stopping at humans. They're experimenting with insects, animals, and even plants. The truth is too big to ignore. From nanobots in our brains to self-replicating machines that can consume entire ecosystems. The stakes have never been higher. So join me as we delve into the world of nanotechnology and expose the truth of DARPA's sinister plans. It's time to wake up to the reality of our world and the forces shaping the future. Take a deep breath and squeeze in, Fluffles. This rabbit hole is getting very, very tiny.
Hi, let's see. Let's get that. We're gonna get this DARPA one first.
Video.
Oh, I know. Hold your horses. Yeah, this is not professional. Just hold your horses. Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
The mission of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, is to make pivotal investments in breakthrough technologies for national security. The genesis of that mission and of DARPA itself dates to the launch of Sputnik in 1957, and a commitment by the United States that, from that time forward, it would be the initiator and not the victim of strategic technological surprise. DARPA has repeatedly delivered on that mission, transforming revolutionary concepts in even seeming impossibilities into practical capability in civilian society. Instead of incremental advances, DARPA explicitly reaches for transformational change and works within an innovation ecosystem that includes academic, corporate, and governmental partners with a constant focus on the nation's military services. Program managers address challenges broadly, spanning the spectrum from deep science to systems to capabilities. But ultimately, they are driven by the desire to make a difference. They define their programs, track progress, but they are also constantly probing for the next big thing in their fields, communicating with leaders in the scientific and engineering community to identify new challenges and potential solutions. Because those challenges and their solutions could lead to the next breakthrough technology for national security.
Bullshit.
Yeah, right.
Again,
We got to at least let them get their.
they're saying, well, because they're the brains of the Pentagon, and to understand their mission tonight is kind of what we're looking at, both what they're saying from their own mouths as engineering alchemists. They've been claimed that they are. So when we started looking at DARPA, I was really amazed with how much technology they have their hands in. And some examples of that are like weather satellites, GPS, like pocket GPS, drones, stealth technology, voice interfaces, the personal computer, which, we'll talk about that, the internet on the list of innovations for which DARPA can claim at at least partial credit for. Like, so they have a director currently under the Biden administration, and her name is Stephanie Tompkins, and she's a geologist that studied at the School of Mines. And I'm like, well, why would DARPA want a geologist? But that kind of makes sense when we look at like a lot of the initiatives that the current administration is under. I'm thinking like CHIPS Act. I didn't look too much of why, but she is looking at what's called the critical mineral supply chains. So from cradle to grave, like we talked about in one of our shows. I can't remember which one we talked about. Cradle to grave,
she's in it for the lithium.
One of the chemical episodes. Yeah. And she's in it for the lithium, possibly. And she aims to, quote, provide strategic surprises for the U.S. government. So as the video said, they collaborate. DARPA collaborates with the free market, which is the industry, and with universities, the education systems. And they basically don't have their own laboratories. I dug in a little bit to a book by called Mad Scientists. And about 50% of their projects are not for our eyes, you know. And
at least, yeah, they say that half are classified, which means those are only the half of the classified ones they're willing to admit. There's double secret probation.
Yeah. And so the concept of like the government intertwining with technology and scientists and all that was first introduced to me about 30 years ago. This dude was teaching me geographic information systems, and he was talking about this government agency that developed technology to keep us safe. They kept it from us, you know, and that we were like 20 to 30 years behind on technology. And so we've all heard about that. And I couldn't remember, he didn't name the agency. And when I was doing a show a couple of weeks ago when we were doing MK Ultra, you guys had mentioned DARPA. And I'm like, what's that?
What's DARPA?
What's DARPA? DARPA, FARPA, LARPA.
Now this is all your
and
fault.
It is a little bit. Well, no, because Cookie wanted to do the nano side of things. And you were talking about like more like the macro side of things. And I kind of wanted to look into like the historical aspect.
Yeah.
And so I went to the library and I was trying to see like how maybe the CIA, the government, DARPA, and technology kind of cross paths. And there was this company, this Italian company, and I won't get into it too much right now, but they supplied NASA with 11 personal computers, like the first desktop-sized computers, and IBM and GE and the government like basically sued them and took their patents, and there's like documented lawsuits for them and stuff. And both the owners, the father and the son, one of them died from like silent like death, like natural causes, and the other one was died in a car accident.
Crash,
yeah. And and there was even more to it, like the education system with like Montessori was one of the wives, and you know, like
better half did a deep dive on that rabbit hole.
It was a really good book. But anyway, it just really made me, when I started researching for this show, this episode, I was like looking at the ethics, and you know, hearing Cookie and Mastermind talk about, you know, are they using this technology against us? And it made me think of science and technological development, and like when and why do we accept what is designed, what is created, what is invented, what is developed, and what is used? Why are we okay with corporations being the arm of the government? Right. You know, like I just, we don't vote on these things. We don't vote on science. And should we vote on science? Should we keep it secret from ourselves? And I'm just really looking forward to that. And so when I hear DARPA say things like innovation unconstrained, like we'll see in this next video, I wonder how unconstrained they really mean. They just put this out 12 days ago. This is their mission. The other one was just their history. This is their
You're going to have to do a lot more tap dancing than that, because I don't even have the video queued.
Well, then while you look up that video, let me go ahead and do introductions.
Oh, you can do introductions. All right. Well, my little innovation unconstrained didn't work too well.
We'll bring it up right now. Well, while that comes up, everyone. Hi, everyone. How you doing? Hope you guys are having a great night. It is I here, the Bad Cookies. I am here with my good friend Mastermind Hour and his better half hour here. We are here live, bringing you information that'll get us in trouble. So thanks for coming in, and I hope you guys are entertained. Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
If you are, please hit the like, subscribe, and share. It's always nice to have that happen. It gets us going in the algorithm. You guys know the drill.
Right.
And be sure to tune in next week, though, because next week's episode will be just as good, if not better, than this week's. Next week, we'll be doing Warning, Journalism May Be Hazardous to Your Health with guest speaker Abidu on September 4th. So please tune in for that.
I
That should
think
be
she's in the house. I think she's here with us. So
Yay.
we're looking
Nice.
forward to that one, Abby. Yeah.
Shout out to Abidu. Can't wait to
Well-
do that.
We'll welcome her to the rabbit hole.
And well, just as usual, we have to go ahead and make this because for legal reasons, we have to read this.
CYA reasons.
This program is a fictional portrayal of a couple of knuckleheads who are pretending to be conspiracy experts. This podcast in no way should be considered informational and is for entertainment purposes only. All right. You got that video, Messerman?
Did we find that video? We did not
It's
clear
called
that.
the DARPA experience.
We did not clear it with legal. So unless you, is that not it?
Oh.
You know what we could really use is 2 monitors.
Yeah.
That would come in handy.
Hey,
There it
you
is.
guys
There it
think about
is.
2 monitors?
Maybe.
All right.
From the recycle, from the scrap
hold
yard.
on, hold on. Hold your water. Did you clear this with legal?
It's fine. It's a public television. We're doing it for
All right.
entertainment, educational,
Present.
not really making pellets, which Mastermind and I had an argument today. Pellet. He's like, pellet is food. And I'm like, no, pellet is out. And we were both right.
Well,
Pellet is in and out.
pellets in,
Well-
pellets out.
Well, isn't pellet just a shape?
Yes, that's what I said, Cookie.
All right. So
Thank
that's
you.
the one you want. This is it. Oh, sure. Here we
See.
go. I hope this isn't anticlimactic.
I hope. What we had.
Coming to DARPA is like grabbing the nose cone of a rocket and holding on to
That's on it.
You're not showing the video.
DARPA's a place where if you don't invent the internet, you only get a B.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, this was-
Program manager
Listen.
quite literally invents tomorrow.
We are thinking about innovation unconstrained. Where can we go?
Predict what is threats.
We're looking for the applications that seem impossible.
That passion will be saving lives 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Coming to work every day and being humbled by that.
The innovation and collaboration, it's a team effort.
We're not builders of the ultimate technology.
It's the engineers and scientists at the companies and universities that we fund that ultimately are going to bend metal and write code and deliver these capabilities to the warfighters.
DARPA is not one person or one place. It's a collection of people that are excited about moving technology forward.
Man, that's fucking scary, dude. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh.
exciting at the same time, Cookie. Really, as a scientist, I mean, and we'll get to that at the very end.
Well, that robot
positives,
dog
but it
with
is
the
scary.
blowtorch on front of it, you could maybe use that blowtorch to burn down the door to save your life. That might be the positive of that, right?
Don't ask
For-
me. I'm doing
For
comment.
some scientists, I always think of the movie Jurassic Park when Ian Malcolm was like, scientists were more concerned with what if they could rather than what if they should. It's what I always think
Right.
scientists are. Is like, you guys are doing shit that you shouldn't be doing and you know it, but you're just doing it just because you want to know that you can do it.
Yeah, their theory is F around and find out, but they're making teeny tiny little black holes while they're doing it. So it's not
That's
just
what I'm saying, dude. It's fucking crazy, man. Well,
Yeah.
Let's get into this because we got a lot to delve into here. Let me start off by talking about nanotechnology. Now, the reason I want to talk about nanotechnology is because it's one of the biggest things that technology will evolve into. And
Or the
there's a
smallest.
theory. Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Sorry.
Thank you.
No, good pun, man. So no, it's one of the ways technology is going to develop in the future. Like, there's many ways it can develop. and nanotechnology is one of them. A lot of it can be cyber-organetics, like prosthetic limbs that are fucking half robot, half organic matter. Like, dude, there's so much. And then there's AI too, man. If AI, like, this all leads back into the technological singularity, and we'll have sometime down the line, we'll have an episode about that.
For sure.
But
for sure.
What has been happening lately with nanotechnology and DARPA's role in nanotechnology, it's a very scary thing, because most of the time researchers do things for the good of people. At least most of the time they do that. But anytime they do that, the majority of the time their good work is taken for nefarious roles. And it's always that way with certain technologies. Like like I said, right now it's nanotechnology. Now imagine, first let me describe to you guys what nanotechnology is, if you don't know what nanotechnology is. It's a branch of science and engineering that involves designing, creating, and using structures, systems, and devices by manipulating atoms and molecules at the nanoscale. And the nanoscale is 100 nanometers or less. Now, to put that into perspective, that's 100 millionths of a millimeter. About, to give you a fair description of it, think of the thickness of a piece of paper, a regular sheet of paper. That's 100,000 nanometers thick. And we're doing 100 nanometers or less. So this is microscopic. It's tiny.
Teeny tiny little
There
ones
we
up
go.
there. There, thank you. Thank you, Better Half.
Sorry,
And
I was
this-
pulling up a little slide for you, Cookie. I'm trying to get my production a little bit fancier. We'll
Right
see.
on. Thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
This is what I'm talking about, is how, like, everything here is in microscopic nanometers. Like, for example, right here, your red blood cell is 9 nanometers. And your neurons, this is a perfect one to describe why I am afraid of DARPA's role with nanotechnology. Your neurons, your nerve network in your body is 200 nanometers thick. Now, we are making things that are 100 nanometers or less, that are smaller than the neurons in your nervous system.
Right.
Imagine if they could put robots that can transmit electrical signals within your neuron system in your body, man. And this is the kind of things that they're doing. Now, what DARPA has done so far, in their role in it so far, is that they've been in several different aspects of nanotechnology. They have in vivo nano platforms. It's developing technologies to support military readiness by improving sensing and treatment capabilities, which means they'll inject these things into you and they'll have it programmed to treat quote unquote disease. Now, that's how it's always been sold to us. Since nanotech's original beginning, it's all been sold to us as a cure. It's a development to further progress mankind into its next evolution. And that's how it's been sold to us, is that once we get nanotechnology, we can put it in our system and better ourselves. Imagine if we can put the nanobots in our bodies and develop our genes where our cells never die. We never age. Nanotechnology can bring that to you if you have them inside of your body. And if you have them inside your body, at first, you'll have to go slowly and like cure common diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's and shit. But then they want to verge into that where they perfect mankind. They make them all fucking human machines that can always regenerate and never die.
What was that movie where it was Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman? I'm showing my age. That the genetic.
Attica or
Cocoon.
Gattaca. No, Gattaca. I'm not that old, dude. Oh, that's funny.
On Golden Pond.
On Golden Pond. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. No, Gattaca's an awesome
You're so
movie.
serious, man. That's a lot. That's really heavy what you're talking about. It's really heavy.
Well, and that everything
And your
I've been everything, I did a little rabbit hole searching, and every time that there's some patent that DARPA has, it's always like, oh yes, this is going to be. Oh, we'll talk about that. The RX, Electra RX. Yeah, no, I'll let you get back to it. But same thing. It's like, oh, this is going to make you, be able to do. What's the Sorry, my dog just unplugged my headphones.
Uh-oh.
That threw me off. Yeah, DARPA will say, oh yeah, it's for like biohaptic feedback, so you can, but they don't say anything about, well, that's if you're got the control of it, not if somebody else is controlling it. So anyway, I digress. I apologize, Cookies.
No, it's all right, man. I just got a few more points to bring up. It's just about the DARPA's role in nanotechnology for the future. Another thing that they have their hands into is atoms to product. It's A to P on the stock market. It's developing, I believe it's A to P on the stock market. But anyways, it's developing the technologies and processes needed to assemble nanometer scale components into systems, materials, and other least millimeter scale in size products. The goal is to take advantage of nanometer scale characteristics such as miniaturization, material heterogeneity, and the ability to build 3 dimensions. Now, that is also alarming to me because this can already be part of their plethora of weaponry. Like everyone's always heard of the conspiracy of the heart attack gun. Well,
Right.
This makes the heart attack gun more plausible now, or at least more like reasonable to believe, like, oh, it might actually exist. Because when you think of Better Half said earlier, we're always 20 to 30 years behind what they already are at. They probably already have had that nanotechnology shit since like the early 90s, man.
Right.
And
oh yeah.
all you got to do is that's
Before. Listen, you were talking about the heart attack thing, and that was in the book that I was reading about Olivetta and the first PC for NASA and all that stuff, and IBM and GE squishing them, and antitrust laws and all that stuff. And they talked about, and that's a general conspiracy theorist thing, is like the silent death is the heart attack and not being able to detect it. And when you're talking about the size, that started with the Greeks. They talked about building things from the atoms up. Like that just reminded me of.
They had the technology.
No,
they had tiny
Caltech
little chisels,
started.
tiny little hammers.
He was saying it started in the 90s. Really, nanotech started in the 70s with Caltech.
Well,
dude,
with DARPA funding, Caltech.
Yep, probably.
No,
I'm sure it was self-funded.
It was a thought thing from Fayer. He started Caltech, and he was talking about this room is empty, and like building things on like a molecular structure. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, like A2 atoms to
yeah.
All right, man. Let me knock out these last 2 points.
Yes, sorry.
And it's my fault, man. I go off into the tangents and we get.
No, it's awesome, and we're dialoguing. It's a dialogue,
you both set me up because I can't go last. I can't go 10 minutes without opening my mouth.
That's
gets my nature. I got to talk shit at some point.
We always
right
said.
On, man.
Because you were going to talk about, with the patents.
I know. I've
we
already
feed off each other,
know.
man.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please, Cookies.
All right. So the last two are DARPA is getting their hands into what's called quantum vacuum for nanotechnology. It's so far they've had a $2.2 million grant to a university of a UC Davis professor to better understand the quantum forces at work in nanotechnology. They're trying to understand the spaces in between the molecules and how to better maximize the ability to travel through that stuff, because that's really the main gist of nanotechnology, is breaking into the micro universe of everything. And the very last thing that they're doing is they're manipulating molecules through nanotechnology, because that's where that quantum vacuum is leading into. They also received a $3 million grant to a Yale professor to continue researching in an area of nanotechnology, which involves the controlled manipulation of atoms and molecules. So these guys are, keep in mind, these are continuous grants. They've already had these grants before, and they're just having them renewed yet again. So this is technology that they've had their hands into for a good while now, and they're developing it. And the scary part is, who does DARPA work for?
Mm-hmm.
It isn't us.
That.
Who does number 2 work for?
I could try to answer
Well,
that.
and better half was asking, she's like, well, what's DARPA? They don't have any labs. And I was like, well, of course they don't need labs. They lease labs. They lease universities. They pay by the hour for
and
their
the free
labs.
market. They
fund 50 new projects every year. So they're just taking up leases like nobody's business.
Well,
and then they front them all through dummy corporations that fund them and shit.
What do you mean?
For the half that's top secret or classified.
You mean the dummy corps through the grant systems?
Yeah.
Is that what? So, from an economic perspective, we give DARPA, what was it, 400? No. What was their budget? 850 billion, right?
That's it?
That was the Department of Defense. The whole Department of Defense, I'm sorry, gets 850 billion.
And DARPA
That's a lot of money.
And DARPA gets four
of it.
4 of it.
Four bills.
Yeah. And a lot of it used to go to like Jason, the think tank behind DARPA, which DARPA is really just a think tank and a budgeting company. And I mean, they have their own scientists, but
yeah, it's just a group of
it's a
crazy guys
partnership.
with a.
That's Jason.
No, yeah, it's a bunch of crazy guys with a blank checkbook, and they just whatever they want to do, they just start writing these.
No, that's
checks.
the CIA with MK Ultra Kinks.
Well, that's
just
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Right.
At least their Jason program doesn't involve them trying to recreate Jason Voorhees or something stupid like that.
No, it deals with what is it? The Jason from the Greeks, Agronauts or
Jason and Argonauts.
Greeks.
No, Jason and the right. Oh man, you
the
just made me brain
intellect.
fart on that.
Sorry, it's okay.
But Trump got rid of them anyway, didn't he?
Well, he did try to close them down in 2019. Trump did. Jason, which was the think tank for DARPA, and they'd go out to La Jolla, California every summer, and they got 300 million. I don't know what it was. You're throwing me off. You're asking me about Jason, and I'm not ready for that concept.
I'm sorry.
How dare you not be prepared?
I know.
Out of order in the court.
Right. Jason.
Well, I'm pretty sure that
spent. Jason is an independent group of elite scientists that advises the United States government on matters of science and technology, mostly of a sensitive nature. In 2019, they had an $8 million budget. They work like 3 months out of the year because they're usually academic, and a lot of them are secret. And I was like, well, why are they secret? Well, I'm thinking about it. It's because if we know who's doing the think tank stuff based on the scientists, we probably know what they're studying and trying to propose, and that could be like not data security, a national security issue.
Right. If they know that you're got a bunch of microbiologists getting together, and then they know you're making chemical or bioweapons.
Right. So Trump chewed up Jason, spit him out, and now they've got a new budget recently.
I bet that was Lauren Boebert's fault. She probably told Trump to get rid of Jason, and he didn't realize she meant
Jason Boebert. Don't talk about Cookie's girlfriend like that.
Speaking of, she would be at least nice enough to hit the like and share, like you guys in the audience.
Possibly.
Hey, I think Lauren was in court today for her 19-year-old son. So
she was.
If you're watching, Lauren, I think he's innocent, and you should give us a thumbs up too.
Oh.
I'm sure he didn't break into all those cars and steal wallets and take out credit cards and then go buy shit like a stupid 19-year-old, like not thinking that anything would happen.
Right.
But I digress.
What do you we're still talking about DARPA a little bit, and from a historical perspective, financials, the name, the scientists behind it and stuff like that. Cookie, were you done talking about where were you at? Were you at like DARPA, the roles in advanced nanotech, or like the future plans? Are we going to talk about that a little bit later?
Oh, you shut me up? Okay, no, it's cool. I'll be quiet. No.
Shut up.
Forget about
I could
it.
talk about Olivetti. I don't have a problem about that. And IBM and GE, and they're everywhere. Everywhere we do research, IBM and GE is every single show. As a corporation, they show up.
Hey man, I told you ignorance is bliss.
No, it's not.
It's not?
It's not.
You weren't happier before you knew that?
Welcome to the real world.
Right.
No, it's just hard for me to just talk about it. And, I'm
Yeah.
action oriented. I want to
Is
get
that
out there.
is
and
that
do
red
things.
pill a Matrix pill, or is that red pill Total Recall pill?
No,
Swallow
it's a patented pill.
Even the alcohol Hagen.
Oh, what? Another movie quote that I'm missing. You can punch
Total
me in
Recall.
the-
Oh god.
Oh, it was Total
She
Recall.
knows Total Recall.
I was looking at shows. It's my favorite show. Actually, one of them. Mm-hmm.
Best performance by a puppet crawling out of a man's chest.
Well, when we were talking about different shows, one of them was The Minority Report. And it really scared Mastermind a little bit because I was sending him current patent research, and I found a review on the DARPA website. Like if you go on and look at the Google reviews of DARPA, I looked at all the 1-star reviews, and it was all the people that have been brainwashed and stuff. Some of it was really sad and scary, a lot of it, but I found one that sent me down this rabbit hole of like looking at like court cases and stuff like that. But he said he was a victim of this. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up and I'm not very okay. And Mastermind was like, that's scary as F. And we thought a Minority Report. So if you want to talk about, so DARPA created this, and it has a lot to do with like some of their inventions. Recently.
Right. Yeah. Then they were going to.
It's called ElectRx.
Right. So the first time I read this, I was like, oh shit, yeah, they've already created the halo from Minority Report, because if they can use this to, cure you, they can also use it to shut you off.
Mm-hmm.
You can control your nervous system, your organs. It can check your physical. That's when I saw, oh, it can work on your organs.
Well,
that was
the original concept of it, the way they sold it, like when I was researching the patent and on their website and stuff, it was talking about how soldiers get PTSD and will be in pain out in the field, and this will help them self-regulate their own healing, healing, and that's beautiful. And so then I was like, started getting into the ethics of all of this, and listening to Cookie talk about different things like that.
But you didn't start from the error in your premise was the very first.
Well, it depends on who's in control, is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
This could be a beautiful thing.
That's the
we
excuse.
Could protect
that's
ourselves
not the reason.
from evil.
There's difference between reasons and excuse. The excuse is they want to help veterans. The reality of the situation is that if they gave a damn about any of the veterans, they take care of the ones they had now. That's not. They're not worried about them. What they want is to be able to use this as a control device.
I didn't put waterproof mascara on tonight, and I'm also having a beer. Stop it.
Sorry. She gets weepy when she drinks Stella's.
Should I make the crying liberal face?
I think Tom's doing it for you.
I'm sure. Oh, he is.
Yeah,
he is.
You two look like twins.
So sad.
Right? I'm sad too. But yeah, it's if you've seen the movie, they just slap this halo device on you, and then all of a sudden you wake up 40 years later when they let you out of prison.
Yeah.
You know who else was afraid of the Minority Report? Ted Cruz, but he thought it was like a report about Mexican immigrants. And shit.
Oh my god!
Racism, yay!
I almost choked on my own spit. Oh, that's part of the Olivetti. It was part racism because the Italians, and it was like the 40s, and they were socialists, right? To boot. And we're like sitting there trying to fight fascism, yet IBM is like totally like swimming in fascism, and they become like the arm of the government.
Well,
and attack the socialist, which was trying to do like the 8-hour workday, and they were the first Italian company to purchase in the United States, and they got just shut down, and their owner was murdered. Okay, I'm done.
Well, that's a fun story.
It is. I encourage you guys. Oh, there's a little picture of so they made really beautiful. So the reason why, like if you research it on the internet, that it's considered a calculator, is because GE bought a part of that company when they purchased in the US, and then once they got the contract with NASA for the 11 desktop PCs, I'm sorry.
There's a mute button right here.
Once they did the sale for NASA, then everybody wanted a piece of them. And they were only a sliver of like what IBM and GE was making. And they were neck and neck on the mainframe scene. But with patents, GE came in and said, oh, that's not a desktop PC. That's a glorified calculator. Now, who would buy? They didn't even call it glorified. They just called it a calculator. You could buy it for like $3,000 back in the day. NASA bought them for $3,000 a piece. $30,000 calculator. Who would buy a $30,000 in today's money?
Right. But
Anyways,
that's basically all
GE
a computer is a calculator. And the fact that they had a better calculator than IBM, IBM was just a calculator too. So, that's kind of.
Yeah, but it was desktop. It was like the first PC.
Right. And it was better than IBM. So they had to throw shade on it by calling it what it was.
And then throwing antitrust lawsuit against them. And with the government. So the government was surprised. I don't understand all that. I couldn't even get down that rabbit hole.
That's the state protecting capitalism.
Intellectual property.
That's the state defending itself, actually.
Why? Because they have partnerships with IBM?
Yeah, because they were socialist, and they didn't want any of those socialist ideas spreading. That's how stuff like that happens. As soon as a communist country started getting, they started worrying about communism actually being voted in. That's when they had to step in and do shit. When communism gets popular, that's when it becomes.
That was us researching. No, that's a totally different show. That's a future show.
I know. I'm just saying they do it. That's.
Did they have other inventions? Mastermind?
DARPA. Oh,
yeah.
I'm up.
I don't know.
You're up, man.
You're shooting it. We're. Oh wait, I want to show one more picture. I'm
please.
Sorry.
Oh, the calculator.
It's the actual glorified calculator.
Yeah. Well, I think if they didn't have the ribbon on there, they would have helped.
They were really involved in like manufacturing systems and education, and all of that he was. And they started the punch card
that's
thing.
what you got to realize is this is a step up from punch cards. So
right. Well, but that's part of. And I was going to talk about what it had for tech.
Ladies and gentlemen in the audience.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, if you show this picture to your significant other that you're dating, and they know what this is, she's too old for you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't even know. That was like 50s. When did we do the moon
I think
stuff?
that was the moon was
60s.
And so they would take those and like the weavers. I got all down that rabbit hole too.
Right.
But anyway. Oh, and I just want to address one more thing from the audience. Someone was asking what was in the background here. No, not that. But the visual in the background, and we're going to do a video of it.
This one right here.
We're going to.
Oh no.
Well, I don't know. Oh.
Yeah,
we're going to do a video of it at the end.
Yes.
And
you'll actually get to hear the audio. But I thought it was a cool background. It was better than rotating
robots. But we'll get to hear them marching.
Yes.
It's called the March of the Robots.
So when I was going through my DARPA stuff, I was basically just starting with HARP. And because we just previously did all the mind control stuff, so I was trying to, stay away from that and go bigger.
So what's
for
HARP?
People, well, let me get there.
Oh, you're going to tell us.
Well, see,
is that HARP?
Well, no, that's it could. AI doesn't know what HARP looks like either, but it's kind of like that. It actually looks more like just old TV antennas all lined up together. So
we'll sit on him for a minute.
If you're not familiar with DARPA or what they've given you, we've got the internet, which started out as ARPANET. That was ARPANET by J.C.R. Lickler. Was that his name?
I have a picture of ARPANET. Oh, wait.
Nope, that's not ARPANET.
Right. Oh, where is it? There it is.
That's
ARPANET, if you're going to talk about ARPANET.
And computer science, so in 1963, memo to colleagues at ARPA described the concept as an intergalactic computer network.
Ooh.
So I thought that was interesting. Maybe he knew something we didn't know.
Who?
J.C.R. Licklider? I don't know. That's a crazy name. That's his name. So, and
I will never remember that.
I'm
Will you
sure-
remember that, Cookie?
I'm sure we'll get back to ARPA at some time. GPS, we're all familiar with GPS. We can thank DARPA for that. Of course, they had to keep their military. It's easier to keep track of them on a map if you got GPS. I think Europe is coming up with their own Galileo, I think is what they called theirs. Galileo, which went live in 2016. So I haven't heard anything of it, but the third one was the Boston Dynamics dog with the flame shooter. That's DARPA too. Can't see how that would go wrong once they get that in the police hands. 4 cybernetic cyborg insects. And I was thinking when they were talking about that, it was just the, like you see the mosquitoes with the number on it, like it's a tiny little robot.
Uh-huh.
No. It's way nastier than that. They put a chip into like a caterpillar, and they wait till that caterpillar turns into a butterfly, and then they got a cyber butterfly. Yeah. Ooh.
Wait.
Yeah.
Spying.
Yes.
Like I'm okay with them spying on other countries, right? We have to be protected somewhat, know what they're up to. What else could you use it for? I know that they did nanotech with mosquitoes to make their babies sterile males.
And they also have a patent for, you remember the little like wind up airplanes with the rubber band? It kind of looked like that, but with a tube. And in that tube, they would put diseased mosquitoes, and then they could just fly this little drone out and let diseased mosquitoes out. So you could start a West Nile virus outbreak with your little remote control.
Or a bird flu.
Or, yeah. And
what's a telex machine?
My dad used to have a telex.
A telex?
Telex.
Oh, telex.
Is
that what this is?
Yeah, that's the like in the old. Then they have telex machines and like
I don't know,
newspaper office, and that or like that's kind of like came after the stock ticker thing,
Right.
I don't think that was in between in your area. I don't know.
Wow, Snork. There you go, buddy.
I used ARPANET 88 baud, nice. His dial-up didn't even go all the way up. It's just.
Does that count towards men too, Cookie? That
say again?
too old? If you show your boyfriend a picture of this, can it count towards men too? On this one.
That's why I said significant other. It counted whichever way you went.
Right.
Oh no! Oh, I didn't hear that part.
The other thing they gave us was GUI and the mouse. People like to credit Apple with that, but let's see, they were doing it was Douglas Engelbart in the 1960s that came up with the mouse and the icons and all that stuff. Thank you.
Cookie didn't remind you.
Speaking of being too old. The other one, and Cookies, I saved this one just because I wanted to catch you fresh with this one. The onion routing, Tor browsers.
Yes, sir.
All that Tor stuff.
What is it?
Tor.
Oh, let him talk about it if he knows what it is.
Yeah,
because I had never heard of it before.
I knew you'd know more about this than I would.
All right, so
what Tor is?
The Tor browser, aka the deep web, is a browser designed to scrub all of the rest of the internet. For example, when you're searching something on the internet, let's say you're going on Google and you type in something in Google to search, it'll do a search engine of your top 1 million picks or whatever. But there's more to that than a Google search. There's actually websites that you cannot find via a Google search or a Google crawl engine. Any type of crawl engine, you have to designate the exact address. That's where Tor engines come into play, is where they'll allow you a block of addresses or certain locations that you can look at that aren't existent in the top layer of the internet. Because what we as normal people consider the internet and work with the internet, we're only dealing with like the top 1% of what the internet actually holds in its entirety. There is a lot behind the internet that most of us don't even get to know that exist because we don't know how to get there.
We get
And
to
that's
see what DARPA lets us see.
Exactly, man. So the Tor engine is nothing but another glorified Google engine that lets you search in blocks of certain locations of the internet that aren't
Can you
usually
call
searched
that
there.
like the dark web? Is that what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I mean, I'm not very.
The reason they called it the dark web was because a lot of the Secret Service agencies used it in the early 70s, late 80s to communicate, because you can track it, but you can't really follow it. Like you can. It goes into the theory of the internet and how networking works. I would have to teach you all about fucking networking in order.
Well, yeah, right. I was trying to explain.
But you're
it
just
to
saying.
I was trying to
go
explain
ahead, I'm
it to
sorry.
better half.
Yes.
That it's kind of like Bitcoin, isn't it? Like a little piece of all these files are on everybody's different computer, so you can't pin it down to one place.
So in the 80s, they had a black box. It was a scrambler, and you could get free cable.
I was asking
like that.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
I'm sorry, I'm asking if it was the same.
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry, I was doing comments and
No,
listening.
no,
I'm sorry, you were
that's-
explaining something to me.
That's just a band
I didn't know.
filter. That's just
Oh,
a
okay.
little tube that connects two
All right.
pieces.
Got it. It's not a scrambler.
Looks like something like this.
All right.
Now
So-
they call it the deep web or the dark web. That is the common
Right.
term for it. Now that people are starting to become more aware of it, but it's not that. It's the internet. It's just the deeper version, the behind the scenes version of the internet. It's just the internet.
Right. And I got here in the notes, it was October 2003. The Tor network was deployed and Tor code released under the MIT free and open license. So now it is open for anybody.
Do you know what
Ain't
Dr.
nothing-
Nick means, that you're not really anonymous on the Tor browsers?
Well, again, go ahead, Masterman.
That's kind of the idea. That and I write cookies. I didn't get an answer because Tor is kind of like Bitcoin or like blockchain, where you have a little bit of the file on multiple different computers, and you have to am I getting that right?
It's stored in different locations. Yes, it's fragment. I forgot the term of it.
Right. But so, and it's supposed to help keep an anonymity, but you can't forget that it's DARPA that has the main key and is allowing you to be anonymous. They'll take your name and say, "Yep, you're anonymous." So yeah, they've got backdoors to everything they do, everything they touch.
That's why I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Snork says Tor is not dark web; it's more of a hidden web.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
exactly.
It's kind of like Tin Rabbit Podcast. If you don't put the ampersand and spell it right, you ain't going to find us. We practically write it.
I could barely find myself,
Right.
right?
Hey, you know what could help? You know what could help with that, man?
What's that?
If people shared, and subscribe.
Oh, and then you hit notify me. Right?
Yeah, notify me.
I do it for
Make sure you hit the notify, because I've already put up next week's episode. So I'm going to try and get those on there as quickly as as soon as we get them. So you can know 2 weeks ahead of time. Right. I think as soon as this show's over, maybe tomorrow, I'll put up the thumbnail for September 11th
for false flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show me that. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
We're still talking tech.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're done with Tor browsers
and the internet.
They gave us the human universal load carrier. That's aliens. Sigourney Weaver's in there fighting with the thing. That would be like an actual one that worked from the future. Fortunately, the ones they are using for soldiers, it takes more strain and effort in your muscles to use and they wanted to be able to carry 90 pounds for 10 kilometers, and it was actually a net loss. So they just kind of gave up on that.
That was kind of like the solar panel bicycles. We used to power concerts. By the calories we would spend powering those concerts.
Right, you just have to have like
eating the ganja candy.
Sticks,
can't get anywhere with that. But it would power the concert.
Okay, I've got 3 more.
Yes, sir.
8, Siri. That's right, Apple Siri. It started out as and of course all the other ones. What's Alexa?
DARPA came up with
Yes,
Siri.
in the early 2000s, known as Kalo, and that's cognitive assistant that learns and organizes, but also a not. Why am I looking under my glasses? I've got reading glasses. But also a nod to the Latin word for a soldier servant. So yeah, that was, it was Siri, tell me how far down range he is and how do I have to, which way is the wind blowing, all that kind of stuff. That's where that came from. And then number 9, I'm going to skip for 1 second because then we had number 10 was the Sea Shadow. And that was basically the B-2 bomber of the sea. It was described as by Mercury News as looking like Darth Vader's personal yacht. It never went anywhere. The new Navy tried to sell it off to the highest bidder. Nobody would buy it.
Ooh.
And it was scrapped in 2012. And I was like, nobody told me I'd buy Darth Vader's yacht. That'd be cool as hell, right?
Wow. Yeah,
pick up all the dock lizards with pulling up with your Darth Vader yacht.
The scrap alone.
Right. Well,
value.
So, and then the number 9 was HARP. And that's the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program in Anoka, Alaska. And that's run by Air Force, Navy, DARPA, and the University of Alaska Fairbanks, who ended up after DARPA gave up on their operations there, they handed it over to
DARPA,
University of Alaska. Yeah. And so now they rent out HARP. I don't know why they get to. I pay as a taxpayer. I paid for it. Why does Alaska?
And then you can make. Well, it was cheaper than decommissioning it. Or I already looked at the budget, and it's.
Yeah, but.
And so now they can make money off of it too. It's an enterprise.
But why isn't it free?
Because they got to make money and run the thing and
they
maintain
didn't build it. Oh, so
they got to maintain that.
Okay,
yeah. Just like when they rent.
Like if it's a Dave and Buster's, like $20 an hour, I'd be all in for that. But I got a feeling they're charging more than that.
This is capitalism, baby. If it exists, charge for it.
You got to think about how much electricity
Enterprise.
it would take. You have to push through there to start an earthquake or, tidal waves, things like that.
I want to talk about waste of money, though. If you look at the ticker on the bottom,
okay.
I noticed, I was looking at the timeline of DARPA, and they changed their name 5 times because they didn't want to include the word defense. Well, you're the brains of the Pentagon, and then they went from DARPA to ARPA 4 times. That's expensive to change all your letterheads, all your it's just it's the bureaucracy. That's the fat we need to trim, not research into the stars and our curing cancer.
I think they just had a hard time coming. Ooh, easy on the language.
Oh, please,
you're a mother. This is a family show. My mom watches this.
I'm sorry. Oh, she cusses.
Kid hopefully watches us. This is keep it family friendly.
She said she watches it.
So
for you.
She must love me.
She does.
Okay, so I forgot completely. We're talking about HARP.
HARP. Yeah, that's why the bunny's still up there.
Right. Mm-hmm. So they nope, I lost it. Sorry. Talked about my mom and said
what
bullshit.
Are they doing though? What is HARP doing? Did you already tell everybody what HARP is?
HARP is the huge antenna array in Alaska, and they will shoot radio waves up into the ionosphere and bounce those around. Basically, they say they're just taking readings and trying to figure out solar radiation, stuff like that. But they can also bounce those waves back down to Earth. They can affect the ionosphere so that they can, if there's a weather event, they can either push it and stop it, push it and stop it, or push it and make it worse. I was looking at that recent flood in Dubai that happened, within the last couple of years, where they saw them driving the trucks through 3 or 4 feet of water in downtown Dubai, which I think might have had something to do with that. I don't know. And they did find a boot on the Nord Stream, but it would have been just as easy to do it with the HARP. No, I'm serious. There was a place in Turkey that never got earthquakes. They said it was HARP, and they went back and said, no, we found an undiscovered fault that was there. It's like, well, of course it's there. They opened up a fault with the HARP. What else did they, I don't know. Could be real, could be not. But then they were also talking about using that same technology for the microwave. We were looking at the patent. DARPA has patents for using the clicks you kind of hear on an AM frequency. It will, if you're at a certain amplitude, you'll hear a click. And once you crank it up, that click goes away. But they have a patent where they can go from, what do you got?
I got the patent.
The patent?
Yes. Oh, wait. No, I got a stupid quote from a fake Einstein. Sorry, hold on. It's somewhere in here. I'm so sorry,
you can
guys.
pull that down, and it shows. That's why we show you can look at all of them. You can look them all right there.
As I build it. Where is it?
I don't know what it is.
Darn it. It was a diagram of the patent that you.
There it is. There it is. So, so they can take AM broadcast into your head, no radio required, and they can make those clicks, they can tune those clicks into something that resembles human voice. And they were saying that it's hard if you can hear it if you know what you're listening for, but if you didn't know what it was, you wouldn't recognize it.
Right, you've already had
but
to
that
have
was
heard
from
it.
that was from 2002. So I'm pretty sure they've cleaned up the technology in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But so that was making me think of like, if they've had this technology for that long, or if they patented it, they've been working on the technology for even longer. So when you start hearing these serial killers, David Berkowitz saying, I was talking to the family dog was telling me what to do. Well, was it the dog or was it?
No, it was schizophrenia.
Right. Was it schizophrenia or was it somebody actually broadcasting AM radio frequencies into his head?
But would you have had to heard that stuff to begin
with? It's not like made up.
Yeah, but the patent, if you really read it,
I read it.
It says you had to have heard the message first.
20 years ago.
In order for you,
That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure in 20 years they've fine-tuned that.
I don't know.
That was
brain science is way behind.
That's before we had AI, but the DARPA had AI working on the problem at that point. So,
well, when I've read on this type of when I read on this, the example that a lot of sources used was, have you ever sat there and thought of a song that you didn't know why you thought of it? You're just sitting there singing it, like, all of a sudden you start singing Sweet Caroline out of nowhere, right? And then you're like, why am I thinking of this song? And then you get in your car and then you turn your radio on and guess what comes on?
Right.
Sweet Caroline. Why is that? Because you're actually receiving that radio signal in your head and you're transmitting it yourself. You just don't realize that signal is what you're receiving as that transmission. That's why you start singing that song, because you received it.
Right.
I don't know if I've
there
ever
are
heard...
actual cases of people when they had the full-on metal braces and shit, or any sort of bridge and stuff, that people would actually be able to pick up because it's energized. It's energy, it's electricity, and it would pick up on their dental work. And when they, I know that it was probably a Brady Bunch episode or something, but every time they open their mouth, the radio comes on. That was taken from actual cases. So if that were, depending,
DARPA.
Right. Well, it would have to be frequency, but if you half those frequencies, if it can hit inside your head, that's what this thing does. Is it actually turns your brain into the radio receiver. Ooh. I don't know if it's a brain or the eardrum. They weren't real clear there, but yeah, they're using you as the antenna and the receiver.
Good thing that radio waves aren't harmful to us.
Yeah, right.
That's a lie.
You don't think so? They're like really slow and mellow.
Radio, we got to understand one basic thing is that radio signals is radiation. It's on the radiation spectrum. It's just a smaller wave, so it doesn't hit us as hard as other things do.
Right? It's past light. Radio waves are. And if you don't have full-time exposure 24/7, sunlight is hazardous to us. You know what I'm saying? If you stay out and at 24/7 slap on the baby oil.
That's the other one
with ozone depletion.
Talk about DARPA when I was getting into them stealing patents, and there was There's so many. There's so many.
Oh,
And they have so many of these nefarious patents. I was going down that, and all the. Anytime they see something they like, they just take it, and like hopefully they let you live and give you money. Otherwise, you know become a really bad driver.
Rest in peace, hydrogen engine creators.
Right. But DARPA also had the power program right after Tesla went crazy and started loving pigeons. They were going to, and one of the first things that they were using HARP for was bouncing electromagnetic waves off of the ionosphere to see if they can't transmit power. But the problem is, weather affects that, temperature affects that. There's many slip between the cup and the lip. And he wanted to use, the Earth's actual magnetic. He was driving, spikes way down the ground, but he didn't have access to the lasers that we have. So he was going with electromagnetic. But now DARPA switched to power, which is the persistent optical wireless energy relay. And now what they want to do is just put orbital mirrors in space and have a three-step relay to get power to places where it would be very hard to run wires or whatever. And that sounds logical, but of course, it's also a directed. Oh, you lost us again. It's always right at that 1 hour mark. Wait, Are you have a quarter you put in your soundboard?
He hung up.
He did hang up. He's got his quarter fed and the bed stopped shaking, so he's got to go get another roll of quarters to stick in his modem.
He doesn't have a bed shake quarter thing.
Yeah, well, but that's what his modem runs on.
What were you talking about?
So anyway, so they've got a 3-skip, or they want to do 3 skips to get power to places that are remote. But then if you think about it, that last skip, if the mirror isn't pointing at a receiver and pointing at an enemy soldier, then you're, 200 kilometers away and you're putting 10 megawatts right onto his head. You're going to start melting them like toy soldiers. So yeah, that's your directed energy weapon. It's a space laser, but it's an American space laser. It's a DARPA space laser. But then again, you have to figure out who's paying who and who owns what. So that's where I'm going to end that conspiracy theory. Hopefully, I was hoping. Oh, there he ended just in time.
Of course.
You have to add him to just.
I just realized where you went with that.
What? I did not. I said it wasn't Jewish space lasers. I'm just saying it's an American space laser. But I'm also, 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other.
There's so much more.
America.
There's literal murder, proven murder. From the library and on government documents that you don't have to theorize about stuff like that.
We have space. Faces. They have a program to make space lasers. That's what the power program is.
Okay, Cookie's back! Yay, Cookie, save us!
Well, speaking of saving us, we gotta start at the wrap up now because we're past the 1 hour mark.
Sure, we can do comments. Party pooper.
Yeah,
That's not saving us.
Yeah, I haven't even got to look at any of the comments.
Party pooper. Some people just wanted to say
defending
hi.
my opinion. Really Jacqueline,
nice.
Thank you for staying up late.
Jacqueline.
3 a.m. in the morning. Get some sleep, hon.
I'll read them in a minute. What the what? Oh, he's commenting on your.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. I noticed I was playing with it the whole time, so I thought if I put it up, I could keep my hands off my own face. Oh, thanks, Mom.
Cheryl Smith says every week gets better.
Thank you.
Nick says, what is the background?
Yeah, that's going to be our outro video. So hang around. You'll get to see it and hear it at both.
Jacqueline says, looking forward to that episode. Abby going down the rabbit hole with Mastermind Cookies and Better Half.
Yes, that'll be fun.
Cookies. Okay.
Journalism is.
Sula Moon says, Black Mirror, here we come. I don't know what that was in relation to, unfortunately.
You know Black Mirror. Oh,
well, I know what Black Mirror is. That was
right.
great.
Well, all of it. Yeah, the whole episode. Everything's Black Mirror when it comes to these government deep dark holes.
Dr. Nick says Jason with one understanding. I'm thinking he was talking about the scientists or Cookie's
Jason
girlfriend's
Boomers.
ex-husband.
I don't know how much understanding he had.
Oh, here's one. I'll put this on. It's not a family show because I made it age restricted because we can't keep our mouths from cussing. Dr. Nick says best movie with 3 boobs.
True. Yeah. Total Recall. That nice one, Nick. Bill Gates' mom worked for IBM. Coincidence? I think not. Yeah, and you know, I used to rag on Bill Gates, saying that the only thing that he ever created was DOS. Everything else that Microsoft stole or got the rights to, whatever. Turns out he didn't even write DOS. So there you go. I gave him more credit than he deserved.
You mean to tell me that fucking Elon Musk created more than Bill Gates did?
Yeah, well,
crazy.
Technically, he didn't build Tesla either.
No.
So,
Elon didn't build a fucking thing. The only thing he ever created was the patent to his connector for the car.
Right. Well, I know when he bought the place, he put it in the contract that they contractually had to call him one of the founders of Tesla.
Well, and if I may, that goes into the ethics of it, kind of.
That's an ego.
Right. Well, and Edison, we're mad at Edison for taking Tesla's ideas. He was a good businessman. There's different types of intelligences.
He killed elephants.
He did not kill elephants.
He killed.
But I want to make a point.
Them to make a point.
Because Abby Dew is right. IBM was provided with the Nazis, and that's why Olivetti got squished, because IBM was working both. They were an arm for the. I like my arm. Was an arm for the Germans and the American government.
Both sides of the fascists.
So that's why I get confused. There's documented proof that IBM worked with the government, and it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, what political thing. If you got money, it's all about the greed. It's all about the greed. And Cookie was right in the very first episode.
Follow the money.
We should call it capitalism.
Capitalism sucks. With better half hour.
Someone wants to know. Who are we?
Who are these people?
Indy at the INN wants to know, who are we? I don't know.
Shout out to Indy.
You got to do it like
earlier.
Hey, Andy, we have to do it. You have to do it like Nancy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's
Who
Nancy?
are these people?
Oh.
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, God.
It's his
No.
catchphrase.
Here,
can I never remember to take my phone with
tearing
me?
up the paper.
Oh,
I'll read it. Okay. I can never remember to take my phone with me when I go out. So GPS is totally wasted on me.
Right.
She was talking about when we said small GPS and DARPA and here's one about the bugs. Dr. Nick says West Nile virus.
Right. And I saw that the science got West Nile the other day. You know who the science is, right? You trust the science.
The science?
Yeah, if you question the science, you're questioning Anthony Fauci. He is the science. Now he has the West Nile virus, but fortunately he has access to the real medicine. Yeah, of course he was cured. He's the head of the NIH. Okay,
that goes into ethics.
He will never get cancer. He's the head of the NIH.
That's perfect, because that could go into.
Whoa.
Well, I'm getting excited because we didn't talk about our conclusions and our
I know
solutions.
we're already at an hour and 9, and
I know.
only got to bring up 2 items.
Well, what?
I know. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
No, I'm talking about the ethics of the NIH has a list of ethics for scientists, and I didn't get into all of them, but one of them was that, and Cookie, are you still there, hun? Because I can't hear you.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I'm just talking about questions to the fluffles and conclusions, and how I want to ask them, do you think we should be able to vote on it, or should it be kept secret from us? Because we don't want other people who could do nefarious things to us. And part of the ethics for scientists is you want to have transparency so that other scientists can audit you and replicate your data, but you also want to protect your shit. I don't trust and maybe that's part of the programming I've had, but there's evil people out there, obviously.
Yeah, but they're the ones that are the head of DARPA. They're Jason. Those are the evil people. You want to give them
I pay the government to take care of me.
Give them blank checks. Yeah, right. That's the thing. you think government daddy's going to take care of you, and it's actually government creepy uncle that comes over drunk.
Oh my God.
You're looking nice in them shorts, better half hour.
Yeah.
You got any more of them Stellas?
Here,
I'm all turning red. Look at that.
Trust me, I've got just the thing you need here. This technology will take care of you.
No, seriously though, it's ethics, and
that's the problem, is they don't have any. Am I wrong?
No, yeah.
Okay.
I don't agree. I think there are scientists that have ethics, and I found many examples, and Cookie did too, of how nanotech helps us in like brain injuries, prosthetics, grant writing, funding like small businesses, which we didn't really get into, Cookie, that our reliable source was talking to us about, the economic part of laundering the money out of the government for certain research. I kind of kiboshed that at the beginning, but also like helping us, like the polluters, and stripping water and other environmental things from their toxins. Like nanotech has a lot of benefits that I see.
Right. But are they profitable?
But that's the thing there, is that they are selling it to you as something that is beneficial to mankind, but it never ends up that way. It always ends up as something more nefarious. Now, like I told you at the start of the show, this is how they sell it to us. And your comment just shows that you will buy into it whenever they sell it to you as bettering the progress of mankind to help us further evolve in our society. That is just the way they sell it to you before you end up figuring out what they really need it for. And that's for weaponization and control of the narrative, because that's mainly what they want to do with it. Is if they can weaponize nanotechnology to a point where they can sit there and, let's take for example, they want to assassinate another world leader halfway around the world, they could do it with a drone carrying nanobot mosquitoes that inject a nanovirus that automatically stops your heart, and then you can just say, oops, he died of a heart attack.
Bite. Yeah, died of a mosquito bite.
Yep. Oops. That's the main thing. That's the main goal. Why? So they can continue having supreme control over the world, because right now it's just unilateral control of the US. They need that technology furthered so they can have that protection, so they can be like, okay, we're gonna maintain our position. Anyone that questions us, you're gonna have a mosquito visit.
But I'm happy. I got food in my belly, I got a roof over my head, and they can cure cancer, Cookie.
That's great.
Cancer.
They could.
That's fantastic.
You have to go to Cuba if you want to get your cancer cured, unfortunately. And you can go to Cuba and get your lung or breast cancer cured, but then you'll be arrested the minute you make it back to the United States.
Yeah. I agree with your mother, Mastermind. The
Go
original inventor, like when I was talking about the Green Revolution, like every time, a lot of times the scientists have good intentions, because scientists solve problems. The world problems. That's their goal. Their goal is to figure out technology or theories or whatever to solve a problem. And then it gets twisted into something else. So it's not that, I don't know.
Well, and that's like that elect RX or elect prescription. I don't even know how to say it.
Yeah, elect RX. Yeah.
But yeah, they sell it to you like that. But it's basically the Jessie Jet Apple Slave Collar 3. You know, which if you pay for the upgrade, it doesn't shock you in your sleep. And I wanted to play that song at the end, but we got
I'm
this
curious.
video at the end.
Oh, he's so cute. Cookie.
Yes.
And Mastermind. What questions do you have to the Fluffles? Are you curious what they think, or?
My question to the audience is, what do you guys feel about the future of technology? Like, how would you guys want to see technology progress? Like, everyone has their fantasies about wanting to see technology better ourselves. Like, does everyone want to sit there and have AI that sits there and does the majority of work for you, and all you have to do is sit there and relax? Do you want nanotechnology that gets injected into your body and heals you and regenerates your cells and keeps you alive? Or do you want a cybernetic organism body that's just nothing but cybernetic organisms? You know, what kind of technology do you guys want to see in the future? Because honestly, we're on the precipice of possibly that evolution happening to mankind. And if you don't start thinking about what it is you want that applied to, they're going to twist it on you, and you're going to end up getting the shit end of the stick on that.
Yeah.
I love some of Snork's stories. Snork says, in my mother's town, 4 houses would share a phone number, and each house would have 1, 2, 3, or 4 rings so they could tell who the call was going to. But all the houses could listen in. I remember my mom telling me about that.
We
too.
had the next city. We lived out in the country, but the closest city, you would dial the 3-number prefix, and then their phone number could be 1, 2, 3, and then the last digit could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. It would all go to the same place. So it was actually a 6-digit phone number with the last digit being whatever you wanted it to be.
Mr. Miller. Oh, go ahead, Cookie. I'm sorry.
Dude, now you can look up Lauren Boebert bikini photos in the middle of the desert. This is the future, man.
It's a great time to be alive. It's a wonderful time to be alive.
My nose.
Nice.
I've been sending Cookie bikini pictures. Woo. Not
of Lauren
Boebert. Yeah.
Please finish that sentence.
That needs to be clarified.
Yes. Is this true? Mr. Miller says, wasn't Bluetooth named that because of aluminum fillings that would make the tooth blue? It would pick up the radio signals?
Actually,
when you were Cookie was talking about.
I think Bluetooth is Norwegian Viking folklore, which is why it looks like Viking. The Bluetooth logo actually looks like Viking. What do they call those? Not script. Viking.
I have no idea, baby.
What? Viking letters. I know that's not the right
word.
Ruins.
Or I don't know.
Jacqueline? Yeah.
No. Go ahead. Jacqueline says, isn't it claimed that the Hollywood star Heidi Lamar had something to do with the invention of the Bluetooth?
I think it was actually Wi-Fi. It was even more, I think, she had something to do, and it started out with, what was it? It was radar for airplanes coming in during the war. She figured she used that radar, and then that turned into actual Wi-Fi. So thank her for your ear cancer when you're holding that phone up to your head.
Oh, no. Look into aren't you going to do like a Dirty Energy show?
Yeah, we're definitely going to do Dirty Energy at some point.
What a sad word.
Dirty energy?
Energy's good.
Well, I know. We'll come up with
which
a better
goes
title.
into like Cookie's thing with, when you were talking about AM, and maybe I don't know enough. I'm not a physicist. I do not know enough about electromagnetic and particle and waves and all this stuff. And right. So is it anytime? It's time of exposure too. It's not just the length of the wave, but it's the time of the exposure. Right.
Well, neither am I, but I pretend to be one on TV.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We're just a couple of knuckleheads.
Right. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please take what you learn here, and then look.
So this looks new.
Do your own research.
TL Orca.
Don't follow the science. Do your research.
Yeah. Do your research. I mean, some of the things we say.
Well, I've been researching all week.
Me too. My eye is twitching. Right. So look into the history of DDT. Although a toxin, it could have been wiped out. It could have wiped out malaria, and the powers it be had Rachel Carson write a book called The Silent Spring. Yeah, that was the beginning of for sure, environmental scientists read that, and it was the first person. Rachel Carson was the first person to work with the government. Yeah, they were in cahoots together. To establish, I forget which president it was, but it was before the EPA was formed and stuff.
It would have been before Nixon. Then.
And it could have wiped out malaria, but it was also damaging eggs and frogs.
California condor was laying soft eggs.
Yeah, so were eagles, and they were all laying soft eggs.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that was the one.
And that they traced it in both soil, air, and water. So it was like a biocumulative, but I could see how. I want to know more about that. That's interesting.
And they saved everybody from it, and then they gave us all Roundup.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Thank you.
I'd rather have...
Thanks for the upgrade.
I would rather have a little robot, a little tiny mosquito robot, having sex with another robot, and then they don't mate, and then they don't replicate.
Wow.
More
that
than
went-
DDT.
That went,
More than that's what they did.
you mean sterilized mosquitoes?
DARPA or whatever. When you were talking about,
you're just talking about cyber porn at this point. I don't know what.
no, I was
you're
talking about
sterilite, putting out sterilized
yes,
males,
sterile
mosquitoes.
mosquitoes. Yes,
but they're not robots. They're not.
I'd rather have some more for that than the chemicals that get all over us.
The mosquito sex
I don't
bot.
know.
Whatever gets you off, man.
Right?
I
It's your
know. Like
world.
I'm not married to that.
Well, you're the one that brought it up. I'm trying to elicit sympathy from everybody else.
It was in the show
Imagine-
notes. Mosquitoes having sex.
I didn't put
and
that in there.
sterilization.
That's what
That's
happens.
not in
when
my
you-
show
Show 'em
notes.
some fun stuff.
That's what
Oh,
happens
it's not?
when
I missed it.
you smoke too much pot and then type up the show notes. I think that's where it comes from.
Hey, I'm taking care of my dying mother.
Hey, you're
I
in
need a break.
Colorado. It's legal. You don't have to tell anybody anything. You have a right as an American and as a Coloradan.
Yeah, it's recreational.
There you go. So is that it for us?
We need our kicker. I don't know.
Oh.
Oh, no, we need our closer. Who's doing the
Yeah,
closer?
that's why I know. But you turned it over. And you're like, feeling kind of left out now.
Sorry.
Aw.
I know it's when it gets to my part of the show, then she just throws the notes up in the air and walks off.
I give up.
Yeah, screw this guy. Okay, so I get the easy part. I get to
You
thank
don't give
people
up. I
for
won't
coming,
give up.
and I finally get to pay attention to the chat. Snork's in the house. Sean, Johnny, Michael, Abby, all my favorites are in here. Mouse, thank you. What?
Well, because
Johnny
Cookie showed
Chingus?
us how to do the YouTube version of what you're doing.
Of
Or you're
what?
just going to look at the chats.
What's the YouTube version of what
You
I'm
showed
doing?
us last time. Don't worry about it.
I don't know.
Just
what
do
you
what you're doing. Sorry.
Oh, I was just shouting out everybody that I want to thank, because if they're still here, that means they stuck around. Those are the troopers.
No, these
They're
are the
not-
people commenting.
Well, I know, but they're still
There's
21
people here that
21 people
are
in here.
commenting.
Oh
Just so
man,
shy.
oh man, Barker's here. He's hanging out. My mom's hanging out. Tosh is hanging out. Tosh Schmidt's
Hi,
hanging
Tosh.
out. Orca's hanging out. All you guys are awesome.
Making
Thank
me
you for
blush.
coming by. Did I miss anybody? I know I'm trying to go super fast because I don't want to spend the whole time just yelling people's names. Even though I love you all and you're all my family, I do love you all like family. I just
Aw.
wanted to get everything moving so we could get to, let's see, shout
Hi,
out.
Sula. She says she's still listening. We didn't forget her. That's what I'm saying.
Sula. Oh, right.
You need to go on the
I-
YouTube.
Oh,
The YouTubes.
Oh, the tubes.
Cookie, you do it. Let Cookie do it.
What's the tubes?
Let Cookie do it. We have time. Whatever. We got 7 minutes. Go.
Oh, because you can pull down. these-
Yes.
Oh, I know. I don't even think
Cookie
I'm a
gets to say
moderator on
goodbye
my
from
own
now
show,
on.
so I don't think I can see it.
He gets to say goodbye.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, we love you, Tam Bunnies.
I
we
messed-
love you too, Mouse.
Thank you for showing up, Mouse.
Ooh.
Let's see. Thank people for coming.
Ooh,
Shout
what's
out to
old
everyone.
English?
So,
Ugh,
OE 800.
I don't mean to judge.
OE 800. Yeah, that's my
I'm a
brand.
little snooty.
Drink it in the 40. Drink it in the pint 40
It's like a
quart
Miller.
or can.
Mm.
Drink it like a madman. Yes, I do. F the police in the 502.
You see, us poor youngsters back in the 80s used to do something called Edward 40 hands, where you would tape an old English 800 into each hand.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah,
No, that's a
you-
legitimate thing.
Wow.
You don't need your hands. You've got 2 beers. What do you need your hands for?
Yep,
Wow.
you had to finish them both, or you couldn't take it off.
Aw,
If
or
you had
they
to go to the
said
bathroom,
Mouse's hood.
if you had to go to the bathroom, you had to find a willing girl to help you out.
Oh, we're degrading.
We are
I'm
degrading in
sweaty.
front of
Let's
your
go.
eyes. Okay, so next show, the great Abby Dew is going to be joining us next week. It's same
let me
10
get the
time, same 10 channel for.
Where is it? Oh, there it is.
You got it.
Miss Dew is going to talk. We're going to talk about how, well, we started because she wanted to do a show with us about the octopus murders. And when I started I never saw the show. I haven't seen the show yet. I think Cookie read a little bit about it,
Well,
but
he read the book. I watched the show. You're the one that's behind.
yeah, I'm behind. But it morphed into I started finding all these journalists that were getting murdered, or whistleblowers. Maybe we'll branch into a little bit. but I'm really excited about
Right.
how.
Well, and we decided it
yeah.
would be hard to do a whole hour on a Netflix. They've already done hours on
Right.
it. So basically,
Excuse
we
me.
would just be playing their show or telling you what you already learned from it.
And
So we're going to stretch it a little bit. So we're going to include journalists and
maybe whistleblowers.
warning journalism, maybe hazardous to your health is the name of the episode.
Yes, sir. And it also it's already up, so you can hit like and notify me.
You can already,
and all that
you
kind of
can
stuff.
right now notify yourself for next. And then I'm going to try and get those up ahead of time. So
What else
that-
you doing, Mastermind? Focus, dude.
Oh, make sure to like, share every. If you haven't liked by now, you're not going to like. I'm not going to tell these
That's
people to
true.
like. They've had
Most of
they have
them do
all
like
the time
us.
in the world. They've had an hour and a half to like. So if they haven't liked us by now, they're not going to do it.
I
But
know.
if you forgot, this is your
There it
reminder
is.
to hit the like button.
Oops. How do I
Subscribe,
take Mouse's
share,
hood off? Do it.
tell your
Oh, there we go.
tell your
Sorry.
friends. There you go, right there. Tell your friends to subscribe. That's how we're going to get past 100.
Oh.
We're pretty close.
Yes,
We're this
I
close
do.
to 1 million, but we're even closer to 100. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, we want to reverse those, get closer to 1 million than to 100.
I am excited bringing Abby's energy in and stuff like that.
It
It's
is
good.
going to be
Yeah.
epic.
Are you going to show the video?
The kicker.
Okay, and this is I forget, was it Dr. Nick or maybe it was Mouse wanting to know what was in the background. So
Right.
we're going to get to hear about what Cookie was talking about
Oh, crap.
with nanotech. Oh,
Right.
gosh.
Where did it go? Marching of the
Oh.
microscopic robots.
Mhm.
Dun
Is it-
dun dun. Hold on. Let me share this with
So
everybody.
anyway,
This is what I'm supposed to be doing while you're talking and not telling everybody
I'm
what
supposed to
narrate. No, I'm narrating how I'm
Make
not
Cookie
really
talk.
doing. Okay.
bye, Cookie.
Hey, what's up? I'm gonna plug Abby Doo's show real quick since she's plugging in the
Oh,
chat.
okay.
Please.
She's
I didn't see that.
she's on Noteworthy tomorrow. She's got AI and how it affects education with Abby Doo. Abby Don't. I'm pretty sure Tossman will be there. Hope she is. She's awesome. It'll be 5 p.m.
should be.
Central Time, so please tune in.
Absolutely.
I worry about that as a teacher, Abby Do and Toss. But there's ways. There actually, DARPA was in. I'm sorry if I may. They're doing a contest, and by 2025 in Vegas at the DEF CON, they're going to have a competition with Google and all these different people and Norton and all these guys for teachers to have access to identify AI and also us to notice deep fakes.
Oh, that'd be nice.
That is all.
Well, it's just going to help.
Let's go to Vegas, DEF CON 2025.
Yeah, right.
Hell yeah!
All right. So good night, everyone. We're going to play you out with a little video, and we'll see you next week. Same 10 time, same 10 channel.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
These are the legs of a tiny army of robots. So small, they are dwarfed by a single-celled paramecium. 50 years of development in microelectronics have given us a fantastic array of tiny computer systems. But that is only half the puzzle. A robot also needs to move. And now, researchers have created a brand new type of actuator which can do it, giving the tiny brains some brawn. Up until now, making moving parts at the micron scale has proven tricky. Conventional designs often don't function very well when they're that small, while others work but rely on mechanisms like magnetism which can't be easily integrated into existing electronic systems. But the new design, called a surface electrochemical actuator, can be fabricated using similar processes to those used to produce microchips. That means the tiny legs can be added directly to the devices that control them. To make the legs, a 7 nanometer thick sheet of platinum is coated on one side with an inactive material like graphene. The legs are then patterned using a technique called lithography, and the excess material is removed. In order to work, the legs need to be in water, but the concept is relatively simple. When a current is passed through the platinum, charged water particles are attracted to the uncoated surface. The force of these particles binding to the metal creates stress on one side of the sheet, and that is what makes it bend. By reinforcing sections of the sheet, the bending can be controlled more specifically, and voila, a tiny robot leg. The robots are equipped with 2 minuscule solar cells. By shining a laser on each one, researchers can create the voltage which activates the front or back legs. These new actuators allow the tiny circuit to move, and because they are created using the same well-understood manufacturing processes as semiconductor electronics, their production can be easily scaled, making millions of tiny robots at the same time. Swarms of robots so small that they can be injected through a hypodermic syringe, and collected using a pipette. Now, at the moment, they can't do much, but their compatibility with existing microelectronics makes them versatile. In theory, new actuators based on these designs could be combined with more complex devices to carry out a whole range of more sophisticated tasks. The researchers have pointed to everything from fighting cancer to tackling crop pests. But that is decades away. Time will tell if these first small steps for micro-robots could be a giant leap for micro-robotics.
Oh,